Uh, so here's one of the most important concepts in economics. Now, you don't need to study economics to get the easy stuff, such as, sunk costs you can ignore in the future, that kind of thing. Here's another one. Economies like certainty. Now you say to yourself, well, duh, doesn't everybody like certainty? But economies really like certainty. I mean, really, really, really like certainty. So if you have a situation where you have this choice, saying, I don't know when we'll open up, I'll let you know when we know, very, very bad for an economy. Even if it's true, completely true. Gosh, I don't know when we can open up, we're just going to have to wait and see. That is death to an economy. Now compare that to, we're going to be out of this in 4 weeks. And it's not true. It's just not true. But your leader says to you, we're going to be out of this in 4 weeks. Now, when you get to the end of the 4 weeks, might you reconsider? Well, of course. That's what everybody does. A month from now, you should reconsider every part of your life, all the time. Everything's changing all the time. A month from now, do you still want the same job? Is your exercise routine good? Markets like, and economies like, certainty. Now, you don't want random certainty that you know is just BS. But you're willing to take a little bit of BS because you know everybody else is going to take it, and that gives you the illusion of certainty, and it keeps your economy on track. So President Trump, master of psychology, in my opinion, he's got this interesting balancing thing, because I guarantee you that Trump knows what I just said. Trump knows that certainty makes the economy work. And here's the key thing. The economy would rather definitely have bad news than maybe have good news. If you don't understand that, you're missing the importance of certainty. Certain bad news that we can figure out how to solve is better for an economy than, well, it could be great. I don't know. Maybe some good stuff out here. Can't really define it. I don't know could be good, could be bad. We don't know. That's death. So at the end of the second week, the president has promised you something closer to that certainty. I don't know if all observers understand how right that is. Because if he went too early and said, I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to open in 3 weeks or whatever, you wouldn't believe it, would you? Because you'd say, I don't know, we haven't watched this enough. We haven't seen enough. We haven't watched the other countries enough. We haven't studied enough. We don't know enough. But at the end of the second week, you're going to be in a little bit more of a gray area. And you're going to say to yourself, yeah, I feel like, given the trade-offs, certainly we have lots of uncertainty, but let's call it. Let's call the time we're going back to work, or at least, call the phased approach back to work. But let's add some certainty, which we can change later. All right? It's not real certainty. Let's say it's functional certainty. The real kind is where you really believe it and you're really right. The functional kind is the kind the economy needs. The economy needs the experts and the politicians to say, it's going to be 3 weeks. And it's okay if somebody says, and in 3 weeks, a bunch of people are going to die, we're going to lose a bunch of money. We're pretty sure about it. Remember, bad news that you're sure about and you know how to deal with it, you know how to get to the other side, is not nearly as damaging as, well, we just don't know what's going on. So get your certainty. The president has promised that. It is exactly right. He is going to have the toughest job in the world, and I hope history understands this. I hope history understands that our president is going to make a decision with, he'll be talking to everybody, the governors and the experts and everything. But ultimately, it's going to be a presidential decision. And he's going to have to peer into this morass of experts who may or may not agree. He's going to have to look at the economy. He's going to have to just feel the zeitgeist of the country. It's what he does best, right? If you wanted one president you thought was most tapped in to the zeitgeist, it's a German word for, how people are feeling at the same time. He's the guy. Nobody's more tapped in, it has a direct pipeline of public sentiment than this president. He's very tapped in. So that's good news. He has a business background, which means he has overruled experts a lot. I don't want to tell you all the times I've overruled experts, medical, financial, legal. All right, so I don't know how to say this without sounding like a douchebag, so I'm just going to do it anyway. It's an emergency, so don't mind me sounding like a douchebag for now. Forgive me in advance. I operate at a pretty high level of business because I have to. The Dilbert enterprise is a pretty big operation and has been. And so I make a lot of big business decisions, and I've got a lot of expertise. Plus my own life, I've made quite a few medical decisions with and without medical experts. And I got to tell you that if you're operating at the higher levels, you're not taking the advice of experts on face value. It just doesn't happen. At Trump's level, as just operating the Trump universe and doing his job before he was president, I guarantee you he had to manage the advice of experts. And when I say manage it, I mean sometimes take it and sometimes not. And sometimes have to be the referee of different competing experts. So he has exactly the right talent stack and skill set for negotiating a situation where you don't understand everything the experts understand. That's the nature of experts. But you still have to negotiate a decision. He's kind of perfect for this. He really is. His BS detector is as good as anybody's. And he has just the right amount of credibility, which some people would, I'm sorry, not credibility. He has just the right amount of skepticism, which his critics say is too much. They're going to say he's anti-science, not believing the experts. But it's just right to me. It's just right to me.